Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Ali Moreno and Shaka Hislop. And if that wasn't enough, we welcome from Europe Jan Fjortoft and Frank Leboeuf. Today is a good day, ladies and gentlemen. You know why?
Why is that?
Why?
Because today it looks like Ferran Torres is finally going to PSG, so we don't have to talk about him anymore. He's led the show for so long, and we've talked about him for so long.
So you just lead with him again?
No, but I have to, because Shaq, it looks like it's going to happen this time.
Oh, okay.
The good thing is we've talked about him for so long that we don't really have to cover him too much. We could talk about Barcelona. How are they going to cope? Well, if they get Julian Alvarez, then that's fine. If they don't, they're in a lot of trouble. For PSG, though, Frank, how much better does this make them?
I don't know. I'm sorry to say that. I don't know. I mean, it's for sure something good to have a World Cup champion coming to Paris Saint-Germain. We have to welcome him. But we know the inconsistency that he showed throughout all the season that he had. And it's not because he scored a goal in a World Cup final that it would change anything about my view of Ferran Torres. Great player, but not the best of the best. And coming to a club who already won twice the Champions League, who show how strong they are, especially in the front line. I don't know where Ferran Torres is going to play. He's going to be maybe like Gonzalo Ramos, waiting for some room. So I guess Luis Enrique has a better view of that. He knows exactly how he wants to use him. I don't know. I want to say wait and see, and I'm pretty sure we'll have an answer very soon.
Jan?
Well, first of all, thank you, Frank Leboeuf, to be so humble that you say that Enrique knows more about PSG than you. That is a good start of this program. No, but I'm with Frank. But we also know how it's like in these summers after championship. You want the big names. This isn't a big name in terms of goal, but it's not in terms of quality. But I think Luis Enrique has shown the last couple of 3 years, he's shown throughout all his career that he knows where to put them. I think it was Ancelotti who once said he made the big mistakes early in his career, that he didn't think that he had to take the best players because he couldn't fit into his system. And then he changed kind of his strategy to just get the best players to get the best team out of them. So I guess this is also a kind of statement from PSG, 2 times Champions League winner to get the match winner.
Ferran Torres scoring the match winner indeed in the World Cup final. Oh, I've heard so much about you from you two. Do you want to add anything more to this?
Well, all I say is that I think we can all agree that if everybody is fit and healthy at PSG and there is an important match to be played, Ferran Torres is not starting. So in terms of what his role is going to be for this team, again, if everybody's fit and ready to play, he's coming off the bench. The other thing I would suggest is that maybe this is a way for Luis Enrique to perhaps put some pressure on certain players. Hey, we've made this signing. If you don't have the urgency or the intensity, or you're not competing at the level that I think you should, we have this guy ready to come in, and this is a World Cup winner. This guy just came from success. It's a big signing for us. So he's ready to go if you're not willing to do the job that I'm asking you to do. That's the leverage that I think Luis Enrique is trying to find with this. But as it pertains to Ferran Torres, I don't think he's getting on the field if, again, everybody's healthy and fit.
It's something different. Liverpool continue to be linked with Barcola, so maybe there's room to have one more in the squad. That gives you a different option, particularly in the Champions League. He's not there to win League 1, let's be honest about it. And Luis Enrique, as I'll keep saying, has earned the right to take these chances, make sense of these signings where not many other people can, because we sit right now, I'm with Ali. I don't see Ferran Torres getting in the starting lineup. I don't see how impactful he is over the longer term. Maybe Luis Enrique has that plan up his sleeve.
Torres, of course, joins a team that are super conquerors. That's what the front page of L'Équipe says after they defeated Aston Villa by 2-1 to win at the UEFA Super Cup. Here's Luis Enrique.
We try to be competitive. It's important to be competitive this season. Starting this season in that way, it's important, and we are happy to achieve that trophy, but we are very far from the normal position to compete in the future. And we are going to prepare this season in the same way that the last 2 years, trying to win every single trophy. That's our goal, that's our ambition, and that's the ambition of the club and the ambition of our supporters.
It's an ambition, of course, they have fulfilled rather impressively over the last couple of seasons, looking to make it 3 Champions League victories in a row. Let's take a look at how the bookies have things set, looking ahead to the final in May. Not too long to go now until that takes place. PSG
I'm sorry, what?
are favourites. Arsenal sitting second alongside Bayern. Real Madrid.
Manchester United? What the?
I know Real Madrid are ahead of Barcelona, but there you go. Liverpool were there for some crazy reason as well. Right, Jan, let me ask you this. If PSG don't win the Champions League, why not and who will?
Well, I think that I will agree that Arsenal has got to get some good players in. I think they still missed that number 9. We said that many times, but I think they missed the number 9 because they need a goal getter. They need that 1-0 player. They need that 1-0 goal getter that they need to go all the way. I will very close this season, of course, but I still think I understand that the favourites are PSG going into this season, because I think that we could say now, if we can all agree, that Luis Enrique at the moment is the absolutely best coach in the world.
So you would say Arsenal would win if PSG don't, but PSG's your team, Jan?
I will always say that, but I know that's lazy punditry, because it's so easy to say
all right,
that.
that's fine.
No. But it's easy to say that the reigning champion will still do it. I think that when we start discussing, we're getting closer now to the Premier League. We've seen an Arsenal team that has get good players in. But the thing is, I think it's also important to say what Luis Enrique is saying there. I think that coming out of the World Cup now, there's a lot of players that need the beginning of the season to like a pre-season. And yes, it's a long time before the May Champions League final, but we all know how important it is for a team to set. And we were talking about Torres. Maybe that is kind of the idea also for PSG. I mean, you won't have your starting 11 now going on all cylinders already in August, September. So I would say Arsenal up there. I would love to say Bayern as well, and let's see. I mean, 2 great challenges. Real Madrid with Mourinho. Mourinho hasn't won a title for 4 years. Can he do it? And is that the Champions League? Ooh, I doubt it.
Jan brings up a good point, Frank. Obviously, we're counting down to the start of the season. But we saw last season, PSG's campaign started much later than everybody else's, because they could afford to do that. They knew when they needed to turn it on that they had within those resources to do that. Teams like Arsenal can't afford that, because they know that every point dropped will be punished by the end of the season, as opposed to Ligue 1. So in that case, PSG have a great advantage. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's quite fair. I mean, in a way that even the season before, the first time that they won the Champions League, they didn't do in the group stages. So they allowed themselves to be quite average, I would say. Even in the Ligue 1, if we watch last season and the season before, and starts around December and be as strong as nobody else in February, that's insane. So it's up to Arsenal to do the same, but in the same time, we all know that Paris Saint-Germain will win the Ligue 1. 99, the odds are maybe 90% for them and 10 for the rest, maybe. Arsenal has to fight from the beginning, because they have to ensure everything. They are the favorites of the Premier League, so they can't let go. They can't waste points at the beginning of the season, because maybe there will be a lack of points at the end of the season. But they have to fight everywhere. So you need depth. You need performances, you need to be spot on at the beginning, so it's going to be harder for Arsenal to win the Champions League. But yes, they have a team for that, but like Bayern, they have a team. But I wouldn't put Real Madrid. Maybe I would give more chance to maybe Barcelona instead of Real Madrid right now. But PSG are the favorites and should win right now, if we talk about today, their 3rd Champions League in a row.
It's interesting, thinking back when we've done this show years ago, we were talking about a Bayern Munich side who was so dominant in the Bundesliga and looked so good, but they couldn't get it across the line because they weren't playing against great teams week in, week out. That argument seems to have completely shifted now with PSG, isn't it?
Well, I think what we see from PSG is that they sort of, the whole first half of the season, it feels like they are in warm-up mode. It feels like these guys are doing calisthenics on the side of the field, and they're just stretching and kind of getting loose.
I can imagine it's like you playing with Alejandro in the backyard. You give him maybe a 3 or 4 goal lead, and then The Moreno skill really turns up.
That was about 2 or 3 years ago. Alejandro since then has grown up, and I can no longer give that sort of advantage. But it does feel like PSG are just warming up the first half of the season. And then once they get going, and I think this is where managers really play a part. And this is when you know your team better than anybody else. And you know what buttons to push. Let's not forget at some point during the season where Dembele was benched by Luis Enrique. And you're pressing those buttons because you know that the best version of your team is at a high level, perhaps higher than everybody else. But in order to get to that level, you can't do that in November and expect that to be sustained all the way till May. Realistically, so you're building your way up, and they can afford, to your point, they can afford to do that because they don't really have the competition in Ligue 1. So they work themselves into Champions League, and once everybody's sort of grinding at the end of the season in the Premier League, for example, PSG is already looking at everybody down in Ligue 1. It's like, okay, we're quite fresh. These guys are not. We're ready to go. We're working ourselves up. These guys are on the way down, and that's when they kill teams, particularly from the Premier League.
Yeah.
For me, and you saw Luis Enrique do this last couple of seasons, I think last season in particular, where so many of his star players play a handful of games, almost all season long, and in particular in the run-in, as you go deeper in the Champions League in particular, you're able to rest players on the weekend and just focus on the Champions League in a way that nobody else does. To the point where, at one point, we were having a conversation about Ousmane Dembele and whether he was Ballon d'Or worthy and if France won the World Cup. This is a player who played, a dozen games all season long. I mean, I know there were some injuries in there, but Luis Enrique is able to use his squad and pick and choose which games they play. They're going to win Ligue 1, so you can play a dozen games all season long and focus on the Champions League as a result in a way that nobody else can.
I do think that. Sorry, Shaq.
Go ahead.
I interrupted you, Shaq. My apologies. I thought you had.
You're more than welcome.
Okay. In terms of what team is a bigger threat to PSG, I think I would take Bayern Munich over Arsenal as being a threat.
Do you think they learned their lesson?
Well, I think they can match PSG offensively.
Yeah.
And if they're able to work better defensively and the transition moments in which they got destroyed by PSG, I think offensively they can match against PSG. And there is something to be said about, Bayern Munich sort of taking steps forward, Vincent Kompany, and it feels like there's a natural progression. The next progression for them is to get to a Champions League final. In order to do that, more than likely, you're going to have to beat a team like PSG. And they've already matched them. They looked at them eye to eye, and they weren't that far off. And I think that's a learning experience for everybody on that team.
I thought Bayern and PSG were the best two teams in the Champions League, particularly later on in the competition. And I know Arsenal fans are screaming they got a final, it went down to penalties, everything else of the sort.
Yeah, they are, Shaka. They are screaming.
But I thought Bayern were closer to PSG than Arsenal showed themselves to be, despite going to penalties. And I also still have the same criticism around Arsenal. While they've strengthened, while they've gotten better, do they have that out-and-out goal scorer? Can Gyökeres be that player? I still have my doubts. That's the one department.
But PSG don't have that out-and-out goal scorer, do they?
But PSG have won 2 Champions League. They've back-to-back. They've shown that they don't need
Arsenal
that.
won the Premier League, Shaq.
They won the Premier League, but I'm still not overly convinced by Arsenal or what Arsenal have in terms of an attacking threat. You can almost
It
say
just
that.
sounds like lazy punditry.
No, Arsenal for me had City been better as they had been 3 seasons before. I'm not sure we're talking about Arsenal as defending champions right now.
Do you notice how he's been very positive with Arsenal?
Yes.
This is the beginning of the season. There are certain inconsistencies to the way that Dan treated Arsenal last year.
How
That's all.
dare you? Just a reminder for a lot more on what happened, PSG's victory against Aston Villa. The boys covered it yesterday. That's available on our YouTube channel. It's that time of year where we see some notable changes to the laws of the game, expanded VAR review scope. So we saw it in the World Cup, didn't we? Corners that were given away or second yellows. Now sub-players have 10 seconds to leave the field. No faffing, or it's going to be a minute. The substitute coming on, you'll be down to 10 men. Outfield players treated by medical staff must leave the field for 1 minute. Refs can instigate a 5-second countdown on throw-ins or goal kicks to limit time wasting. no tactical timeouts for goalkeeping injuries, Shaka, and UEFA yellow card threshold raised from 3 to 4. Exceptions to the rule that we saw, of course, the covering of the mouth, red card, that will not be implemented this season. Neither will intervention for diving either. That will be up to the officials on the park. Frank, which one of those do you like the most?
What it was, the throw-ins and the wasting time. I think that it can be good if the referees are very strict. That can be very interesting. I just want to go back to the explanation. They say that it doesn't count if you put your hand in front of your mouth, depending on what you're saying. That's stupid, because if you put that, you don't see what I'm saying. So how can you judge if somebody's saying stupid things or insulting somebody or giving an advice to a teammate? If he puts his hand in the mouth, you're not going to see. So another incomprehension from the board of the referees, but whatever. It's getting better and better. I like some points, and let's see how it works.
Yeah, one of the most frustrating things, Jan, from the Champions League final, for example, was the time that Arsenal took in taking throw-ins and corners. This hopefully will eliminate that. It certainly worked at the World Cup.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we took the best thing out of the World Cup. I miss Justin Bieber at halftime, but instead of that, we've taken everything that we could take.
Ronaldinho, Ronaldo were the best.
Yeah, with Madonna.
Oh, yes, the best.
Madonna. No, but I like the way. I mean, you could say, Dan, and I think that during the season you will use this as calling this as the Arsenal rules. It seems that they've taken everything away that Arsenal have done to kind of slow thing down. I think that everybody who loves football will applaud every rule, every movement to get more netto time of playing, more efficient way of seeing a football game. I mean, the last 2 seasons in Premier League, and I'm not only saying Arsenal, but there were times during the last 2 seasons in the Premier League that it was bizarre how long they spent doing corners, doing even throw-ins, and for me, the worst thing that I think was fantastic at the World Cup, no injury players were lying down just for the sake of it. That was brilliant to see at the World Cup.
To defend Arsenal, we've seen Atletico Madrid for years do it exactly that, and it should hopefully eliminate it. It's good.
It is. I do like a lot of the rule changes. The one that kind of stands out for me is VAR interventions on second yellow cards. VAR can intervene on red cards. A second yellow card wrongly given, they can't intervene on. I think the game has been screaming out for that to change. That makes perfect sense for me.
And it's an easy and logical change. It actually took a while for that to happen, a little too long in my opinion. I like when you're changing things for the better in plays that can specifically affect the score of a game. And to your point about the second yellow, that's the one that is very obvious. But the overturned corner kicks, it's also it's one that I think makes a whole lot of sense. Because if we go back to a conversation with Arsenal or Atletico Madrid for that matter, for them, those are goal-scoring opportunities. And an overturned corner kick that wasn't supposed to be now changes the dynamic of the game. It takes away the opportunity from Arsenal, but in a sense, you're making the game far more about what's the right call, what's the correct call, not hiding in the loopholes of, well, you can't do anything here, VAR cannot get involved here. Now you can get involved and make a decision.
Everyone's happy.
Hey.
What about that? We're also happy because La Liga returns this weekend. We've got to wait a little while for Real Madrid and Barcelona to be in action, but they're back with a bang. Real Madrid against Espanyol on the 22nd, and on the Sunday, it's Elche against Barcelona. Those games live on ABC. We're laughing because I have something up my nose and people keep telling me I'm like, what I'm supposed to do. Oh, we're live. Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Enzo could be on his way out of Chelsea. They've set him a deadline of Friday to decide whether or not he's going to go to Manchester City, or indeed if Manchester City are going to make a bid. And this is ridiculous. The transfer window doesn't close until the start of September. These pretend deadlines don't really mean anything, do they?
Well, sort of. I think that you could put pressure on a player and an agent, because in this phase of a transfer window, there are so many consequences of one decision. So if you take Enzo Fernandez, Manchester City. Okay, then you have to tell 2 or 3 other players that this is not happening. And same with Chelsea. This is an influential player. This is a player who takes his place. It's interesting to see now because there's so many questions in going into this Premier League with a lot of new coaches around and especially by Manchester City after Pep reign, what will happen? I mean, we've seen at Manchester United, we've seen a lot of big clubs when the big manager just leaves you, that they are struggling. This Enzo Fernandez thing, it's hard to analyze because does this mean that they say that, well, Pep's way of playing, Pep's way of thinking is out the doors? Is this a Maresca thing that I need that kind of player that will give me that dirtiness? And I say it as positive I can. Do I need that player in midfield? Is this also an answer to Arsenal that they get this player, Game Mirage, that will get in there, he will stick in there, he will go for the Apollo Creed Rocky battle all over the midfield. Sorry to the young viewers about Rocky, but is that an answer of that? I think that is the interesting thing here, Dan, to see what does this mean that they say goodbye, or not goodbye, but sort of need that kind of player at Manchester City?
It's a good question, Ali. Is this Enzo trying to kind of put his own DNA on this Manchester City team?
I would ask a more general question. Is Enzo Fernandez this good?
Well, you tell me.
I don't... Look, I like Enzo Fernandez as a player. I think he's a good player. I don't believe he's a great player. I don't believe he's great enough to change the DNA of a team, to change the personality of a team. He may give you something different, but the DNA of Manchester City has been there for years upon years. I don't think it changes with the presence of Enzo Fernandez. I also don't think that he's that great of a player to have this much of an interest and holding clubs hostage to whatever the decision is one way or another. For me, Enzo Fernandez is a good player, but I wouldn't push too hard if I'm Manchester City. I wouldn't be disheartened if I were a Manchester City fan if Enzo Fernandez is not walking through that door.
If I just quick say, Dan, quick say that what I meant. Yeah, I'm with you, Al. I understand what you're saying about his playing ability, but this is something about the kind of brand of a club, a brand of a team, that kind of player. Because Enzo Fernandez, whatever you like him as a player, or how good he is, how you rate him, he will kind of be a part of that team that we will talk a lot about when he's in his first game. We'll get into something there. So I think that's more interesting, more than his playing ability.
I completely agree. I do not see Enzo Fernandez as being a £120 million player. That kind of bemuses me, I'll be honest. The only way this makes any kind of sense is that the expectation is that Rodri is going to move on, so therefore there's a gap there, and Maresca has worked with Enzo Fernandez before, and so therefore that's the fit. Otherwise, this makes absolutely no sense to me.
Frank?
It makes no sense because on top of it, citizen fans, they don't want to see him. Chelsea fans are fed up with him. I think all English fans are fed up with him, and citizen fans are fed up with him because of his behavior. He's a good player. I agree with Ali. He's not a great player. I agree with Ali. I don't think he's going to change the DNA of Manchester City. Maybe he can bring something. He's the champion of the world, so he has a value. But really, I would be him. I would try to go to somewhere else if I wanted to go. If I wanted to play, if I want to play in peace. Because in England, that's going to be very hard for him for the season. And whether he can play for City or Chelsea, I think people are not going to be happy to see him.
Fans are fickle, Frank. If he plays well, they don't care what happened in the World Cup, or they don't care that he flirted with Manchester City.
Well, that's your opinion. I don't think so. People won't forget. As soon as he's going to do something bad, they're going to, and the press, the media also, they're going to jump on him. He's going to have a hard time. He's going to be under pressure all the time. And we all know, we've been players, to be under pressure for all season long, that's pretty hard to handle, even for a good player.
So waiting on whether or not Enzo Fernandez will join at Manchester City or stay at Chelsea. One thing is for sure, Doku will be staying at Manchester City. He signed an extension to his contract to see him there till 2031. Jan, how do I ask you about Doku without insulting him? But I want to kind of...
Okay, well, that's a good start.
Is this guy good enough to be the star alongside Erling Haaland and Manchester City? Because that's what they need, isn't it?
Of course.
Well, if I take my striker hat on, he's very good, Doku, when he makes that cross without doing the last trick. And I think that there were times that he found that last season, then it was major for them. But it's also frustrating when you have that kind of crosser of the ball who doesn't want to cross the ball. Because a striker, you want to you make that space for yourself.
So why doesn't he cross the ball? Because everybody says the same thing, Jan. I'm sure his coaches have said the same thing. I'm sure his family says the same thing. Why doesn't he do it?
Well, I don't think his family will say when he's going to cross the ball, but I understand what you're saying.
No, he's not married to my wife. She tells me what to do all the time.
Well, my wife tells me a lot because she never told me about crosses. But I do understand that. But I think that is the playing ability. But what we've seen, I think the reason they extend his contract is that they believe he can put those games more often. I mean, his stats at the beginning of his time at Manchester City, with lack of assists, were unbelievable. It shouldn't be possible to make that few for Manchester City because we have a Haaland, we have a lot of players who can get on the goals. But at his best, taking on people, get the early cross in, then at his best, I do understand that they want to extend his contract.
You made some noises, Frank.
Yes, because I don't even understand the presentation of your question. Because Jeremy Doku was unbelievable at the beginning of the season. He was the game changer because of the pace that he puts comparing to the other. Why he doesn't cross? Because that's forbidden to cross when you're at Manchester City. I remind you that Guardiola wanted to not lose the ball. So you go and you come back. You go and you come back. And Doku, when he changed his mind, he said, I go for it. He was a game changer. Semenyo signed half season, and he came and it was a little bit like that at the beginning. This guy is crucial for Manchester City. Yes, Haaland is the key player, scoring goals, but you need a Doku. You need somebody to get the defense crazy because they don't know what to expect. I'm really fond of Jeremy Doku. He's a great player and a good catch for Manchester City.
Jack?
From a business perspective, it makes perfect sense. Even before we get into whether he crosses or shouldn't cross, he had a couple of years left on his contract. Anything running after that, the kind of
we're not their accountants, Shank.
I'm just saying from just that perspective, the onus of power shifts to him. So signing him, he's only 24, signing him to an extension makes perfect sense just from that perspective. I like Doku as a player. He's not Semenyo, not that good as Antoine Semenyo, but very effective in what he does.
Can you trust him?
I'll also say this. He was better last season than he was the season before. And I think he continues to show good progression. So for me, it makes perfect sense from a footballing perspective and from a business perspective to extend his contract right now. Now, we could debate whether it should have been 4 or 5 years, but that's up to City. For me, it's a little bit of a no-brainer in terms of a contract extension.
You know how you mentioned the coaches talk to Jeremy Doku, the family, your wife, everybody talks to Jeremy Doku and tells him what to do. I think the most important person that could talk to Jeremy Doku is actually Jan's boy, Erling Haaland. And talk to him and say, listen, Jeremy, let me tell you what's going to happen here. I'm going to make this run here all the time. I'm going to be there. You just put the ball there and I'll go get it. I'm going to beat this guy. I'm going to beat that guy. Physically, they can't stay with me. Just put it there. We're going to score. I'm going to score. You're going to have assists. We're going to win games. I'm going to be there. And if I'm not there, then you can tell me. You can raise your hand at me and say, hey, I thought you were going to be there. Have that conversation with Jeremy Doku. I imagine that it's a conversation that's already taken place. Your responsibility, Jeremy, is to put the ball right there. And the moment you create that space, I'm making my run because I'm anticipating your cross. If that conversation takes place, as I think it should, because it's basic communication between the striker and a wide player, then Jeremy Doku is far more effective. Less is more with Jeremy Doku because he can be a dominant player due to his speed and his change of pace.
Jan, has that conversation happened?
Well, every striker will do that, and we do know that Erling is very into details, and you will make out deals or runs. And having said that, if Doku don't know about the runs from Erling Haaland, then he should go to check his eyes, because he's done this for the last 10 years. So I mean, that conversation it's not the most necessary thing. I think just use your eyes.
Just a reminder, Jeremy Doku will be in action against Arsenal. Live on Sunday from Cardiff, it's the Community Shield, and it's a game you can watch live on ESPN. Our coverage starts 10 a.m. Eastern.
I'll explain what's going on, and it still doesn't make any sense.
Does Shaka know what's going on in this show? He's the only one not looking at the camera.
I'm admiring Weston McKinney.
Well, a lot.
Quite a long time.
Hey, there you go.
You're questioning some life choices?
I wonder if I could get that hairstyle.
That is it.
No, the answer is no.
Done. ESPN FC back on your screens tomorrow, but fear not, Extra Time is next. Jan and Frank back answering your questions, and Shaka on the Leagues Cup format. Welcome to the latest edition of Extra Time. Boys here in the studio. Jan and Frank are here as well. As a player in pre-season, are you aware of what areas of the squad need strengthening? And do you get annoyed if you see your club supposedly not going after the necessary players or linked with subpar players? I know exactly what you're going to say, Jack.
I'm going to say yes.
There you go.
That's all I'm going to say.
Is that it? Is that what you've got?
Yes. No, listen. As a player, you know, especially if you've been at the club before, you know, not your first season, you know where you kind of got found out the season before, and you hope that they address it. And if they don't,
but what if they bring in a better goalkeeper?
Oh well.
Wow.
I'm kind of used to that.
Oh.
That's part. But saying that, that's part of the game.
Nah.
Okay.
Your position is always under, regardless of what position.
But you can't welcome a new goalkeeper.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, well, you can. Did you?
This explains a lot, Shaq.
Depends on who you ask. Who you ask that.
But Jan, you must have seen strikers going in and go, all right, we're moving, we're out.
Well, when I came to England, I mean, it's funny when you play in English football, because at that time it was not the here we go time, and it was not like playing experts or finance. There was no experts. There was just happening, and you just came to the dressing room, and suddenly a striker was sitting next to you. When we were at Swindon in the Premier League, I mean, we had a manager, the best person I've ever seen in football, John Gorman, and he had the feeling if we lost 5-1 and we have 6 chances, we needed another striker. I felt it at that time. So we're ending up with Frank McEvany. Remember him, Shaka? He came on. We had so many different strikers coming on all the time. And to Shaka's point, that I was sitting in the dressing room thinking, oh, I hope there comes a striker better than me. Forget it.
Yeah.
I was lucky every day. I was happy when I came into the dressing room. Another guy was sitting there and trying to take my place. Get out! Of course, we welcomed each other. Of course, we were teammates, because that is a very good thing in England. I played for, was it 5 clubs in England? I can't remember, 4 or 5. And I was like, I was just coming into new dressing rooms all the time. And they welcomed me. I think that was a big part of English football that I did love. But you're not sitting around in the dressing room, oh, I just hope they get a better striker than me so we score more goals next season.
So, Jan, did you have different experiences in other countries when you arrived at clubs?
Yes, absolutely. When I came to Germany, it was clear that I came as a number 9 to replace the number 9. And the number 9 didn't speak to me for 4 months. He went away when I crossed him in the dressing room, and I then wasn't an age I can't say that word. I didn't care.
Yeah.
So I didn't matter, and I was also, because in England it was easier to adjust, especially in the 90s. I'm sure it's probably the same now, but in the 90s it was good to come into English dressing room. Yes, there were bullying, there was a lot of things that was going on, but somehow you loved it, I must admit.
Didn't you have someone who didn't speak to you?
Yeah, Kostas Chalkias, Greek goalkeeper. This is Portsmouth. So he arrived and would not speak to me, like, at all. And at first it didn't really click, but then I just kind of noticed, like, I would, you know, or he would come in and say good morning to everybody else.
Yep.
Or I would come in, and say good morning to everybody, and everybody else would respond, and he just wouldn't.
Yep.
So then I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Because Jan, I was at an age now where, those things not bothering me.
Yeah.
So whenever I come in, I would go look for him. When I was at Portsmouth, we had we trained at a university ground, so you had a number of different dressing rooms. So you had 5 or 6 players in one dressing room, and So I would go find his dressing room and just stick my head and go, "Hey, Costas!" And he would just completely ignore me. And then when I was leaving, I'd go, "Oh, bye, Costas!" And it was so much fun. Again, I was just at an age where those things just tickled me more than anything else.
Go on, Frank.
Dan, I was so lucky when I signed for Chelsea. I'm sure Jan knows the guy. Erland Jensen was the defender, the centre back. He was a Norwegian guy, strong guy. Am I doing? He was Norwegian. Jan, do you agree with me?
My best football mate and my mates in 10 years.
Oh.
Okay, so I was right. And I signed for the club. But on top of taking his position, I asked for the number 5 when I signed, and it was his number. And the guy is a monster, really a monster. Yeah. And he was the first to welcome me. I tell you, he was the first to welcome me, and I had a chance to score my first goal because it was an assist from his left foot from Ellen, who played because I think Steve Clark was injured, and he played and gave me the great assist when I scored with the header. The guy was the best teammate ever. Wow. Never complaining, fighting, everything, and even welcoming me. And he had to leave the year after, but I had a very good season with the guy who had to be on the bench because of me. Great guy, Ellen. Magical.
Oh, beautiful.
This is a guy, when I roomed with him in the national team, I was sleeping with shin pads. So I do understand that Frank Leboeuf was a bit afraid, but a great lad. And I think that, Frank, that story just shows you how it was like, especially in the 90s, because that was a kind of the team atmosphere. And I played for 4 different clubs, I counted now, and 4 different clubs. And when you came into a dressing room, you didn't take long to adjust, to be a part of the team. And Shaka, I guess you will confirm that.
Who hated you?
Everybody. It's funny. As you know, this week I'm going to Houston for
for the reunion,
the celebration of the 20th anniversary of our win in MLS Cup with the Houston Dynamo. And in all honesty, I'm in my head, I'm trying to count the guys that I actually had a really good relationship with, and I'm kind of going, well, not that guy, and not him.
So why did you not have a good relationship with? Because of your personality?
Well, it doesn't help. I am a little prickly at times because I just speak my mind and say things that perhaps other people do not want to hear. But there were people like Stuart Holden, right?
Yes.
Who could not be more the opposite of me.
Well, he's very outgoing, friendly, happy.
Well, yes, but when I was already an older player, and he came in as a first-year player, and you're thinking, because this is the way I was brought up, as a first-year player, you're kind of thinking you're kind of quiet and you're just gonna mind your business,
stay in your lane.
And stay in your lane and do what you're told. From the moment this guy showed up in the locker room, he wouldn't stop talking. I mean, and he had the frosted tips as well. I mean, it just was. I could not be any far more different than me.
Yes.
And how I would have approached my career. Well, he hasn't stopped talking because now he's still is a TV analyst as well. Yeah. And I found out that he's going to be hosting, like we're going to have a Q&A. He's going to be hosting, still talking. 20 years later, he's still talking.
Oh, brilliant. For Jan and Ali, who do you think will score more goals in the league this season? Isaac, Gyökeres, or João Pedro?
Wow. Go ahead, Jan.
Well, I will go, because I dare, because Stevie is not in the studio, I will go for Isaac.
Okay.
I will think that in Iraola, I mean, Liverpool is one of the big question marks this season. How will they develop with a new coach? Can he manage to come from off Broadway, going into Broadway, doing Liverpool? Iraola, will he get a system going that will fit Isaac? I think they're depending on him scoring a lot of goals. Gyökeres, of course, playing for Arsenal, we know that they will score. I will go for Isak.
Isak.
He gets my vote.
Okay, do you agree?
I think Isak is going to be substantially better than he was last season. It doesn't take much because
he doesn't have a broken leg.
Yes, that helps. But I do think that Joao Pedro is going to get more goal-scoring opportunities. And
Ooh, what does that mean?
I'm going to take Joao Pedro.
Okay, Shaka, let's open it to the floor.
Isaac.
Okay, and Frank?
Joao Pedro.
Oh, it's a split.
So it's you, Dan. It's down to you. You are the guy.
You're the vice president.
Joao Pedro is my answer. There we are.
Yeah.
I thought you'd go for the Arsenal guy. Like, you just seem to have this way about you this season.
Yeah, about Arsenal.
I just thought.
Is 2 years enough time for Xavi? I've just literally had to check that he did get the job to turn Netherlands into Euro contenders along with Spain, France and England. Xavi's got the job, Shaq.
Has he?
I bet you didn't know that.
I did not.
No, I did not know that.
All right, had a way to prepare for the show, Shaq.
Well, I'm the host and I didn't know.
Had a way to prepare for the show, Dan.
I didn't know this was coming. I don't know. Nobody told me that.
Well, the fact that they take Xavi is surprising, but still it makes sense when you know the connections between football, the Netherlands football and Barcelona. We're starting with Cruyff and all the players are going different ways, and that's the way they want to play. The big thing that Xavi and Jurgen Klopp will find is that they can only pick players from Netherlands and Germany.
Oh,
I mean,
this is a new thing?
Yeah, this is a new thing. I don't
Right.
think they thought of that. I think that Jurgen Klopp will probably say soon, I need a couple of transfer windows to make this Germany team great. And the influential part of it is good. That is good. It's a great name. But when you see now they go less and less days to prepare the team, it's quite hard to find the way you want to play in there. So I am skeptical, optimistic that Netherlands and Germany will be better. Oh, well, they can't be worse. Germany can't be worse, by the way. So Germany will be substantially better.
The
Xavi's
Netherlands.
first game, can I just throw this in?
Sure.
Yeah.
Is
Klopp.
it against Jurgen Klopp's Germany?
Oh, wow. I would just say that the talent level for the Netherlands is a tier below the best teams in Europe. And in order to be a contender, you have to be able to match that, and they just don't have it right now.
Jan, what's the percentage amount Kane replicates his numbers from last season? So he got 61 last season, is that right, in all competitions?
I will say that there is a trick, by the way, because how can you use percentage that it will replicate everything? But I think there is a 90% chance that he will get that amount of goals. So I take 10% off.
That's a lot.
His tally. Yeah.
Yeah, you're confident.
I think. Yeah, I am.
Why?
Because Kane is I think. First of all, a lot of these goals are for Bayern Munich that will still win the Bundesliga. You've seen some of the team like Dortmund now got some good players in. I'm skeptical what happened in Demichelis in Leipzig. So Bayern will kind of win this easy, and then he will get loads of chances. And Harry Kane is great professional, great attitude. And if you have a striker in a team like Bayern Munich, I'm not saying you can't avoid scoring goals, but I'm saying that he will do the same thing as Lewandowski did, score and score and score and score.
Frank, are you interested in pooling your money together to purchase Leicester, as the owners have put the club up for sale? Do you want to buy Leicester? Should we buy it as a team?
Leicester was my lucky number, and I always had good goals scored against Leicester City. So I really love that club, and I like the way they moved into a very good club to the Premier League, and how they won the Premier League. I'm not sure I will put some money because I don't have enough to make sure it's going to please them. I have the thatch roof. I have to rebuild the sash roof, very soon, so it's going to cost a lot.
Okay.
My house in Normandy. And I have to travel for holidays, for winters and summer, so I'm sorry, Leicester City,
lack of commitment.
I want money,
Anyone else want to step up? Jan, do you want to buy it?
Yeah.
No, well, I can take the Norwegian Oil Fund. We can probably buy it, but I don't think... Leicester is a great club, and if you want... Let's put it this way. If you want to buy a club in England, Leicester could be your best choice at the moment.
Okay, all right.
Oh, don't look here.
Shaq, you got. Shaq, I had something on Insta, yeah? The algorithm is some man talking about leasing and renting private planes. And I was like, how does this get into mine? And then who's the follower of it? Shaka Hislop.
Wow.
That's where it's.
Wow.
I need some kind of proof around that.
Wow.
I need evidence. I don't believe that.
100%. I promise
I
you.
don't follow anybody who
You follow
a
some
couple
man.
of guys with a rowboat. I follow a guy with a rowboat trying to save up for a paddle. That's it.
No, definitely.
No,
the
no,
private plane man is Shaq.
No.
So would you step up and use some of those Shaka millions?
No.
No.
If I had those millions, I'd buy Reading. Reading's my first club.
Oh yeah.
So, let's pull up and buy Reading.
You'd have to live in Reading, though.
No, you don't have to live in Reading.
Okay.
That's not the.
I thought that was. You love Reading.
I do. I don't have to.
But I don't want to be there.
You owner of Reading, Shaka Hislop says, don't worry, you don't have to live there.
I've got
The Chamber of Commerce.
I've got to come into work at ESPN. I've got to pay for it somehow. I've got to pay for it
That is the
somehow.
best-
I'm still coming into
best
Reading.
pitch. Best pitch I've ever heard. I would buy Reading but I don't want to live there because I don't like the place to live there.
That's not what I said.
Exactly what you
That's not what I said.
I love Reading until I had to live there.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, I've got lost my last question.
Okay, no, that's where you get.
Are Pedri's adoption papers tied up in the system? Will you be saving a chair for him come Thanksgiving Day? This is when you suggested that you would swap Pedri for either of your two children.
I will tell you that Alejandro scored a goal the other day.
Titty!
So maybe he's back.
Wow.
He is back.
Oh,
And Pedri didn't have a great World Cup either.
How'd the game finish up?
But that's not important, Zach. That's
like living in
neither
Reading,
here
isn't
nor there. That's really. They may have come up short. Lost 2-1, but Alejandro scored, so maybe he is back on the table.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you to Frank and to Jan. Just a reminder,
you're
Instagram
so
followers
serious all of a
can
sudden.
find Shaka Hislop.
Yes, leasing
especially
planes.
Reading supporters or Reading residents.